Hi everyone, it's Giselle with a message for today. And today I wanted to talk about something that I finally began to understand. When I was in meditation, I focused on the question, why would our counterpart be so afraid of this love, this divine love? Why would they be so scared of something that is so good, that we perceive as amazing? And what they told me is not everybody is at the same capacity that you're at. So you have to show compassion for that, because this life is like a school and not everyone has graduated at the same level, and not everyone has had the same life experience that will provide them with the openness and readiness that is required for this kind of love. But what they also wanted to say is that if you felt that initial pure love at the beginning of you meeting physically, or if you haven't yet met physically, because I know some of you are in that space as well, if you can feel that pure love, then it is there. It's not an illusion, it wasn't a lie. Use your heart to discern whether it was true for you. And if you feel that it is true for you, then hold that as your truth. So that love was true. That honesty and innocence that you felt at the start of you meeting is absolutely true. But what we then must understand is logic tends to kick in, especially if they are the divine masculine. And they try to understand this with a logical mind. And then for the next step, they showed me a time in my life where I was afraid of something. It wasn't afraid of love. I've pretty much always been open to love. Love to me has always been something that I welcomed with open arms, despite having had very painful situations in my life that have led me to become very hurt by love. Yet still, I would always welcome it again, because it's something that I deeply resonate with and want to have in my life. But they showed me a time where I was afraid of financial growth and success. And that sounds absolutely crazy to some people, I know, because I feel it's the opposite for my person. I feel they are not afraid of financial growth and success, but they may have been afraid of love. I feel they're coming out of that, but certainly this is reflected in my life where I was afraid of financial growth and success. And the reason why my guidance brought me back to that in meditation was so I could understand the reason why I was afraid, and therefore be able to understand my person better. And hopefully with me sharing this information with you today, you can perhaps look at a time in your life that you felt afraid and perhaps put yourself back into those shoes, and also then therefore understand how your person could be afraid now. So this was, I was still at my old job in a different office. Let me think what year this could have been. 2013. I'm pretty sure. 2013, 2014, around about that time. I was really getting into spirituality, bettering my life in a spiritual rather than a practical way. And I was getting into wealth consciousness, think yourself rich, those kind of things. And when I first started reading certain books on that topic, I had a major freak out because I was afraid to step out of my comfort zone. The book asked me a very profound question. Well, it was profound to me because it was something I'd never asked myself before. And it said, are you willing to step out of what you know in order to get your dreams, your financial dreams, your wealth dreams, your success dreams. And it also warned, if you are prepared to do so, be prepared to have a different environment, different people around you, different friends, different acquaintances, different circles. And it scared me. It honestly did. I could feel it in my heart chakra. I was terrified of the thought of having to change my life completely. I was afraid of the adjustments I would have had to make in order to accommodate a new lifestyle, completely alien to what I know. And what we don't know is something we fear. Therefore, I was afraid to take the leap. I only read 3/4 of the book. I didn't finish any of the assignments I was asked to do as part of that, and I just left it because I thought, I'm not ready for this. Maybe in the future, but right now I'm not. And I ran. I ran from the thought of ever having to change my life so drastically. And let's go a bit deeper with this. So why was I so afraid about changing my life? And I delved deep within and I understood why I was afraid, which is positive because I could at least explain why. And the reason why I was so afraid to change my life so dramatically, to change my circle, to change my friends, to step out of my comfort zone was because the people I knew who were multimillionaires, who had everything handed to them seemingly on a silver platter, were not the type of people I resonated with. To me, they seemed very arrogant, very stuck up, very inconsiderate of people in my position. Therefore, it made me not want to be like them, which in turn was the cause of me not wanting to step out of my comfort zone and change my life. And at that time, I didn't realize that I could have a different life and change my environment, change my surroundings and potential people in my life, but not become like those people I didn't want to be like. I didn't understand it at the time, which is why I ran. I closed the book. I didn't read it again. Therefore, I hadn't grown dramatically in the way that they had suggested back then. Now, in hindsight, I didn't have to go so extreme. I have now changed my life. I have this business. I only have to work part-time days. Excuse me. I do have different friends and different people and a different surrounding, but I didn't have to do it so dramatically. I did it in smaller steps, and I am still on my wealth journey because I still have goals and achievements I would like to attain, but now I at least understand that I didn't have to do it so drastically like the book had suggested. Now, why am I telling you this story? Because I want to find the correlation between why I had a massive freak out and ran from something that seemingly would be good to our beloveds having a freak out and running from something that we perceive to be so amazing. And as I mentioned earlier, not everybody is at the same stage in their journey that we are at, and we have to respect and honor that for them. And whether we want to wait until they get to that level and then join them, or we just want to leave them to it and part ways now, that's totally up to you as an individual, and no answer is wrong as long as you follow your heart and follow its guidance. But I now understand why they would have such a massive freak out over the thought of needing to change dramatically, because this journey is a dramatic journey. It is very, very tangibly changing you in ways that I certainly for myself would have never have imagined. I can honestly say I'm not the same person from when I first met my person to the first video I've ever recorded on this channel. I am so different, and I can see how somebody who's not familiar with those things could completely run out of fear. When I've read into a lot of divine masculine's energies, a lot of similar themes come up. And I've seen how they've been closed off to love because in childhood they were not shown what unconditional love is. And part of them knows that when they do step into the energy of unconditional love, their world is going to change. They're going to change on a spiritual level, on an emotional level. And if somebody doesn't have the capacity for love the same way as you do, they're going to feel inadequate. They're going to feel useless, completely unable to meet you where you would like for them to meet you. And until they can understand, like I had to understand, that you can actually go baby steps, that you don't have to say, I'm just saying in terms of numbers so that you can kind of have a better picture. If your journey is at a 7 out of 10, but they're only at a 3 out of 10, they're going to feel like they could never measure up to you and where you're at. And of course, you can try and say, oh, but I'll be understanding, I'll be compassionate. That's great, but they may not see it in that way. Specifically, if they are still very bound to their ego and not wanting to hurt their ego in any way, they're not going to see it the way that you do. So it's important to allow them to realize these things on their journey. And again, as I mentioned, it's up to you if you want to wait for them or just move on. And that's absolutely fine as long as you follow your heart. It's never our task to get someone to be at our level, to heal their wounds, to help them to progress in their journey. Because if you liken it to an exam, if someone sits the exam for you, then you're not going to pass. You cannot do their tests for them. You cannot sit their exam for them. You cannot learn their lessons for them. They're just going to fail, and they'll have to do it again anyway at some other time. So there's no point. But I hope in me telling you my story of fear, of growth and success in a financial way, that you can perhaps apply this to your person's fear of intimacy and love and true divine love and unconditional love. It will require change. It will require your entire life to change. I know for me, my entire life changed. I've been putting aside so many things that I once thought were important, which is now completely obsolete. Even something as simple as alcohol, my body just cannot metabolize it any longer because I have energetically ascended. And I know for many of my clients, they've said the same thing, but it's not important. I've never really needed that to have fun, nor did I ever like the taste of it or the way that it made me feel. In fact, I had many clues in life that it wasn't for me because I would always get horrendously ill after drinking, so there's really no point. But It's little things like that you're going to have to adjust. Certain people in your life you're going to have to leave behind because they're no longer on the energetic pathway that you'll be at. And to your person, this could be totally terrifying. They may hold importance to things that you are now thinking, oh, that's just silly, doesn't really matter. To them, it still may be important, and you have to just respect that that's where they're at in their journey. But I hope that this has at least shed a light on their perspective, on what could be causing them to run. But understand too that if you are able to overcome obstacles like I have, and I've been able to find ways and take baby steps towards not being afraid of those things anymore, that they can do that and have faith and know that if this is divinely guided, the divine will help them to see that and that they will be guided on the right path. Unfortunately, time is tricky and it's difficult to tell when exactly this is going to happen, but hold space in your heart for it to happen. Have faith. Have faith in the divine, in true love. But I hope that at least this video has helped you to see from a different perspective why, and answer the question, why would someone be so afraid of something so good? I managed to be afraid of something good at some point, and I'm sure you have as well. And in searching within for those kinds of examples, I feel that it would help us to be compassionate and understanding. And it doesn't mean that you have to wait if you don't want to wait. Do whatever feels right in your heart. But I hope that this at least sheds some light on those questions. If you would like to book a session with me, all the details are in the description. I do readings, healings, channeled love letters, or just channeled letters in general. It doesn't have to be a love letter. Coaching sessions for helping you with your own spiritual growth and self-development in practical ways. And if you would like to take advantage of the 25% off for session bundles, all those details are in my community tab on YouTube. So thank you all so very much for watching and have a beautiful day. Namaste.